Alright, so I'm going to be sharing 3 versions of the opening scene with you today. Each version has a different voice for Carol the Baron, and I'm going to put up a poll so you can all vote for your favourite. That's what the poll's going to be. Now you know. So if you've been here the last few streams, you'll probably know that we have gone in the direction where we're having voices in the game. Obviously it's not full-on voice acting because this is a very, very low budget project, and we are kind of doing it in a way that is very inspired by games like Undertale and many other games that use that kind of technique, and it has a certain charm about it because it's not full-on voices, but it helps add that distinctiveness, that distinctive quality to a character. And I have found, I must say, if anyone's curious, I've found a really interesting technique to do these voices now, and it's not overly complicated either. I'm pretty confident I could churn out quite a lot of them with this method, and I use websites like freesound.org to get my samples from, because there's a lot of people doing different like voice samples on there and saying little short sentences, and a lot of that stuff, there's usually a little symbol on the side, is either in the public domain or it's available for free use for commercial projects as long as you credit. So those are the ideal things to use, really. And what I usually do is I find a voice of someone speaking on there, collect a variety of voices, and I put the clip in Audacity. I take a tiny sample and then I loop it, and that is how, funnily enough, that is how Toby Fox apparently created Sans. I think this is the video. Let me just click to see. It's not the video, but there is a video titled something along the lines of how to create Sans voice from Undertale in 60 seconds. It's something like that. So that video, because Toby Fox used Patrick's voice, I mean, it's speculation, we don't know for sure if he did, because it's kind of it's probably not a good idea to use samples from popular shows. That's why I'm sticking to free sound sites to get mine. He just took a sample from a sentence Patrick said and then repeated it, and it worked. I've decided to stay consistent with the sounds that I go for, and I'm kind of going for the sounds, because you can get a lot of those. You can get a ton of sounds, and the kind of more I've experimented with a few different vowel sounds, but those ones tend to be the most subtle and least obnoxious sounding. So I've got a few today, and we're going to post them, a few Carol variations. I'm very excited. But yes, if anybody ever does want to send me samples over in the future, you might find that I'll use your sample as the voice of a future NPC in the game, perhaps. I know that Rex is interested, and he has a good quality microphone, so he could definitely be somebody that I'd take samples of. But all you'd have to do is say out a sentence, in a voice of your choosing, or a few voices of your choosing. But I'm not desperate for samples from you guys, because freesound.org has surprisingly a ton of choice. So I don't think I'll be short, but if anybody ever wants to get involved, the option is there. The only requirements are really a good quality microphone, and the goal is to get a lot of distinct tones that and nice and easy to listen to, because the one thing people The only con of this kind of method in games for sound design is people get annoyed at the sounds. I find them irritating, which I can get sometimes, because some games that do this the sounds can be a little bit on the obnoxious side, especially if you hear them too often. But I'm going to try and avoid that and only have the ones that actually sound nice. As long as they've got to add character as well, though. They can't be boring, because I want to get them close as possible to the character, which the ones that I found for Carol are great because they kind of fit with her personality super well. I had about 10 different samples, different versions, and I shortlisted 3 of them out of about 10 because the others didn't sound like Carol enough. They were too soft or too sweet in tone, and I thought, some of those could be better for other characters though. There was one in particular I thought could be really cool for Elvira, because it sounded more like a moody old lady voice. But there's 3 for Carol, and I don't mind either of the 3, whichever of the 3 win the poll. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to put something I despise on the poll. So, shall we get them down? But I wanted to tell you my technique and where I found the sounds before we started, but we've got polls here. So we're going to write that up now. And here they are. So that's Carol voice 1, this is Carol voice 2, and that's Carol voice 3. I've got them tabbed open, 3 different versions of the scene. And each scene preview is just under a minute long. Just slightly under a minute long, so you'll get to have a sneak peek. And Duncan's voice is in there as well. He comes in the scene halfway through, and I settled on Duncan's voice because it was a really nice, warm, easy to listen to, deeper male kind of voice, which I think suited him. So I've kind of settled on his, but it's the Carol one that's the dilemma, because 1, she's such a big character in it that it's important that we pick the one that is the best for her. So she's totally worthy of doing a poll for this decision. But that doesn't mean we'll do a poll for every single NPC when it comes to voices, because some I might not struggle with which one I want to pick for them. But for Carol, it's definitely important. Alright, so I could play these through now. I haven't got my earphones on though, and we've got music playing in the background, so I'm not going to play them because I've already heard them. And I want you guys to actually look yourselves on the poll and have it be a secret for you. You'll have to mute my stream though when you listen to them, of course. This is the first time I've officially shown off this opening scene as well, because it's had a real expansion and an improvement since the old days. There was the very early version of this scene. It has changed. At heart, it's still there. The same thing is happening. You're in the barrel. Carol gets mad at you and tells you to get out of her sight. It's all the same, but the tone is different, and I think that it sets the tone much better than the game. And I've spent way more time crafting it and giving it as much of a sort of professional feel as possible. So I'm excited to share this clip on a screenshot Saturday as well at some point, when we actually do get set on Carol's voice, because we don't know yet which one we're going to go for. Alright, so we'll get the poll up. Okay, I forgot how I do polls. It's been so long. I'm going to get an example one up because I have a folder with all the polls we've done. So I'm going to get one up to see. All right. There seems to be a lot of lag stuttering. Is there any raindrops currently? OBS hasn't warned me that there's any frame drops. Maybe it's a Twitch error, because we know that Twitch has been strange lately, don't we? Well, I do anyway. I'm going to just have a quick look at my VOD and see if it's something that's affecting the stream as a whole. Let us know, chat, if you're going through the same issue as Define Dreams. Before we carry on, we'll make sure everything's good tech-wise. Okay, so I'm on my browser and seems okay at the moment, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was playing, I'll put it that way, because I've been experiencing some issues with Twitch myself in recent times. And I'm on my thing, and it's saying videos unavailable. I've tried to look at my VOD and it's actually come up saying videos unavailable, so maybe there is something weird going on Twitch's end. I think in the last few weeks, when I've been in Rex's stream, there's been like Twitch problems like 3 times now. But I'm glad that there's no issues on your end, Rav. I'm gonna just looking at my VOD, because I always upload my VODs to YouTube, so I want to make sure that everything's good. Otherwise that will be bad if it ruins our YouTube video. Yeah, well, hopefully it settles down if it ain't for anyone that's having problems, but we'll carry on with what we're doing. Let us know, chat, if everything gets better. Silent. Well, Define Dream, should I say. I'm still in the habit of calling you Silent. Murphy's Law, it seems to have fixed itself once I mentioned it. Yeah, it demanded that it be fixed because Define Dreams. Everybody listens. Twitch listens to Define Dreams. He has the power. Alright, so let's zoom in so you can actually see me write this poll, folks, and we'll also hide the people at the side. So, all right. So, what is your favourite voice for Carol the Barrel? I think we should write a little short description of Carol, just a couple of adjectives to describe it, because if we get anyone new come in the stream that doesn't know Carol, I think it's important to just describe a personality so that we can also have the voice that best matches that personality. So, our angry Tsundere, angry yet beloved Tsundere, Carol the Barrel, maybe that. Because she's angry, but, you know, we want her to be somebody who's endearing at the same time. We want to get that balance. She has to have a charm about her. Otherwise people will be like, screw this blooming barrel. I'm quoting this game. Don't like this barrel. But who would say that? Everybody loves Carol, right? Sometimes upload rates tend to be a bit wonky and they can be like only 10% of what you normally should be getting as a hiccup goes through the system. Well, yeah, start behaving, upload speeds or Twitch or whoever you are. Behave yourself immediately, because I'm streaming. Right, so here are 3 different versions of the opening scene of Raindrop Chronicles. Well, we don't need to get in detail, we can just say that. Each one has a different voice for Carol the Barrel. So I think that's fine, and then we just put the link to the videos and the poll so you can vote. Oh my gosh, this is fun. Hi Matt, how you doing? You're here just in time, just as we put in the poll up. So I'm excited to see who everybody votes for, and if you've got more than one favourite, feel free to vote for more than one. I don't even care if someone votes for all 3. But if you do have an absolute favourite that you think is superior, then, you know, totally vote for it, because we want to know the best and most appropriate voice. And any voices, like, you know, I think all the voices I'm posting are decent enough. They could make an appearance for a future MP, say. They could be reused, but if maybe. Hi Van, how are you doing? Good morning to you too. How are things? I'm excited to see what you've whipped up for the voices. Yes, and I mean, I've gone for a very, I think, an easy method and an easy approach to doing it. That video of the Undertale video titled How to Make Sans Voice in 60 Seconds is basically the same approach that I'm using for the voices. I'm getting a voice sample, finding a voice sound, the sound in particular, in a voice sample. So if somebody says the sentence, like the word maybe, or miserable or moody or anything with the word M in, I get that very, very first part of the M, and it's like a tiny sample, and it just gets looped, and it sounds like a letter sound that a lot of games use. Phoenix Wright is very popular for letter sounds. They have that letter sound that plays when dialogue comes up, and I'm going to be using letter sounds in a way that it's almost like it's the character's voice and they're speaking. I know Undertale are very famous for doing that. Celeste did it too, but theirs is a little bit different because they do have different letter sounds. You know, they went for a more complicated way of approaching it, which was pretty cool, but I think a bit too advanced for RPG Maker. But this way works, and we're very lucky to have a plugin that actually allowed us to have variety of letter sounds. Makes things a little bit easier for us. I'm busy with work right now, a little cold this morning. Oh my goodness, I hope you can warm up. You should have an electric blanket, take that into work. But yes, we'll be having a poll, Van and Met, and anyone who's coming in, we're about to get it up. And it will be open for, you know, until we get enough votes, maybe until next stream. So exciting times, and we posted these videos now. So Carol voice 1, we'll go for Carol voice 2, Carol voice 3, and then we just post the links. So here's Carol Voice 1. We got a different custom hero with every different version. Rex has already seen this scene. I showed him last night. I wanted to see what he thought before. It's nice to have that second opinion before you go ahead to something. Dava, thank you so much for that host. How are you doing, Dava? The brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Yeah, the sad thing about that sentence is, it does have an M in it in jumps, so it could work. But I'm going to consistently use sounds, I think, because they're quite pleasant. I did try O's and R's and E's and all, like loads of different vowel sounds at first, but I thought maybe they were a little bit harsh sounding on the ears when they're looped, but the sounds tended to have a nice repeated loop sound that wouldn't get too grating if you had to keep hearing it. And it was just the easiest for me to sample as well out of any letters. It was a little bit tougher with other letters. I heard voting. I vote Saxon. Hi, yes, we are doing a vote today. It's going to be super fun. I've been excited for this stream. I was going to do it on Tuesday originally, but I didn't quite have the opening scene as polished as I wanted to. So I thought we'll wait until that's polished and then I'll post it. And here we are. So I think I've put all the correct ones there. Let me just double check the URLs. So if you're in the Discord, anyone who's hanging out, you'll be able to vote on this poll. Can we put some cute emojis with these so that, you know, it doesn't look as boring? Angry emojis probably, because Carol's a Tsundere. Why isn't the emoji search thing visible? Probably because I'm zoomed in too much. Nah, we'll leave it as it is. We'll be boring with this poll. So, poll. And that's how we do it, /poll. Hi Rod, how's it going? Breaking out. Yeah, I thought I was going to. I was wanting to make it pretty, but I gave up. I'm just too excited to post the poll, and I knew it would take another half an hour deciding what emojis to pick, because you know me. So, what is your favourite voice for Angry Yet Beloved Tsundere Carol Barrel? Vote for the one you like best that captures her personality, but also captures her personality. Voice 1, voice 2, voice 3. I think that'll work. I will copy and paste in case I screw up the poll, because sometimes it can get screwed up. The winner will be her I'm putting brackets different dialogue letter sounds because people might look at the videos expecting actual voice acting, so I'm going to just make that clear so people know it's the dialogue letter sounds. That outfit looks cute. Yeah, it's the Wednesday Addams dress, one of my favourite dresses. And any plans for the evening or weekend aside from staying warm? Having a nice relax, Rod. I'm very, very into this new schedule I've got because it gives me a 4-day street break, which is really, really useful, I think. Not only does it allow me to get stuff done more productively, and it allows me to chill as well. So it's nice. What about you, Rod? What are you up to? So you say you're aiming for M sounds. Does that mean you want M sounds for all sorts of different tones for all the game's voices? Probably yes, Define Dreams, because surprisingly you can get so many different sounding samples, like different blip sounds from just that one letter sound, right? And it'll be quite distinct. I mean, it's not even difficult to do, really. I could see myself having a folder full of these little blip sounds over time, and then we match it up with the character we find fits whatever voice the most when we have an NPC introduced to the game. And we can always, I know it was emotions, different emotions and stuff was mentioned as well. If we ever want to do that, we can always change the pitch or tempo and things like that to that same letter tone and see what different variations we can come with if we wanted to be do a bit more with it for certain scenes and parts. Because the plugin we have does allow us to change the pitch and the tempo whenever we wish for certain dialogues, so it's quite easy. Going to get breakfast started. Hope you take care and enjoy the weekend. Talk via Steam messages Sunday as usual. Hopefully, yeah, take care, Rod. I hope the breakfast is yummy. Hi Julith, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. When I get an example of the kind of M sounds you are looking for, I'll whip up at a bunch. It sounds, it's super fun to do. And if you ever want to get involved, feel free to. All I'd need, if it's you yourself recording them, then that's fine. But if you get them elsewhere, then just provide the source, of course, and as long as it's public domain or CC, like free to use for a project with credits, then we're good, aren't we? But the option's there for anyone who wants to record voice samples for me for the project. If anyone wishes to, all it requires is a good quality microphone and you to say a sentence with plenty of M's in it, plenty of M words, and I know that Rex is keen on getting some done in the future too, and I'd probably just make a folder of little samples over time, and if there's ever an appropriate NPC, I'll match it up to them, and it'll be super fun. Freesound.org is great. It really surprising. Oh hi, oh my goodness, I'm rambling on and we got a raid. How's it going, official? Hi Zyga, welcome to the stream. Hi Zabby, hi Zoc, and hi Streaming Branch, hi Dead Pupoo, and hi guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I was off on a ramble and we had you guys come in stream. Thanks so much for stopping by. How are you all doing? Hi Looking Glasses as well. How are you doing? Nice sprites, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, these are our characters in the game. The ones that are in the actual stream, because we have a community character submission forms if anyone in the stream wants to be a character in the game. And thank you for the follows, everyone. How you doing? Let's give a shout out to Zyga. Hopefully I can spell it right. What were you guys up to? Oh, you were doing some science and technology too. Feel free to tell us what you was up to. I'd love to find out. and hope you're having a good time. Yeah, today is an exciting stream, everybody. As you can see here, we're about to put up a poll in our Discord for something really fun. I'm about to share the opening scene of the game. It's a newly revamped version of the opening scene. I did the opening scene quite a while back now, but I've recently expanded on it and made it even better. It's got a better tone now and it fits the game better, and there's a bit of intrigue there now. It was pure slapstick comedy, the original version of this scene, but now it's still got the comedy, but there's a bit of a mysterious overtone to it as well, which is nice because layers are good, and the goal is to hopefully hook you guys in so that you're curious enough to continue on playing the game to see what happens. And there's 3 different versions of this opening scene I'm posting, with a different voice for the main character in this scene, who is also kind of the main character of the game itself. So it's important that we decide the best voice possible for this character. I'm using like letter sounds for voices. It's not fully voice acted because it's like a budget solo skint dev here. So we're approaching it in a way that Undertale kind of do, where you have different letter sounds for the characters. And the goal is to use that as a way to have a cast of variety and charming, diverse, interesting characters that are distinct and memorable. Hit enter, everybody's desperate to vote on this poll, and I'm like delaying it, rambling on. Don't worry folks, I'm going to be pressing enter very shortly, in a couple of minutes. We'll catch up with chat first, and was just making a boss fight game thing. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'm gonna have a little peek at that. A game jam. Oh, that's fun. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely gonna have to I'm gonna have to spy on that stream later. Little sleeper, but doing all right. How's your day going so far, Rose? Going well, Looking Glasses. I'm hyped because we're going to post an exciting poll, and this is the first time I'm going to be sharing the new opening scene with everybody. There's only one person who's seen this, and that's my boyfriend. I shared it with him last night to see what he thought, because I like to have a pair of eyes on it before it helps. But so it's going to be super exciting, and obviously you'll have to mute the stream, guys, when you watch these clips. They're only 50 seconds long each. I recommend watching all of them so you can hear all the different voices, so that there's no bias. So let's get it down. I'm so excited I smudged my lipstick. Where's the poll? Oh no, I know why it's not come up. It's a good job I copied and pasted it. Right, that's a mistake. So delete. What we have to do is this. I remember now. There's a way you have to go about doing these polls. I don't think I can actually bold the title. I hope this will work. And it won't look messy. I'm going to copy and paste it again in case it looks messy. Oh, it's not worked again. Bear with me, everybody. Bear with me. I think I need speech marks there. I don't know, I forgot those. What's going on? I've done it right this time. Don't be mean. Oh, okay, let's try it this way. Let's get rid of... Oh, blue. There. I had to put the poll on a separate message. That was what was the problem. Okay, it's up. There's no typos, right? What is your favourite voice for our angry yet beloved Tsundere, Carol the Barrel? Vote for the one you like best that also captures her personality. The winner will be the voice we go for. So I'm going to just... bold these. So feel free to listen, folks. I don't mind if you mute the stream as you listen, so you can hear properly. What the hell? People are voting already? Was it that quick? No bias, guys. Could you really listen that fast? If we read these sentences and chop out the sounds, that should create many different yeah, it's going to be fun. And Duncan's got a voice as well in this video. That was quick. I was expecting votes that fast. I'm going to put a poll up in on the bot as well, so you guys can... Is it up? Let's just check the command. That should take you there. I'm going to just click it and say... Oh no, Internet Explorer's come up now. No, cross it off, because Internet Explorer crashes my computer. Ooh, let's see what Silent and Lost has posted. Menacing sounds and mashing metal machines emanated from the mines. Yes, reading things like that would be great. So... Totally, that could be something any volunteers can do. But thanks for sending those. And you can use your own voice when you do them, or you can put on a voice if you want, if you want to get a bit of variety in. Yay! Okay, welcome, Dead. Welcome. Good to have you in our Discord. So if anyone wants to join the Discord, if you want to get involved in voting in things like polls, this is the place to be. Everybody loves the first voice, I say. I'm just surprised people have watched them already. I'm hoping that you've watched them properly, chat. Unless you just skip to the voice of Carol, which is fine. But watch the whole scene. It's a cool scene. Like the first one best? Yeah, they're very different. Voice save, please. Well, it's kind of absolutely fresh in the others so far, dead. So maybe you'll get your wish. The whole scene is cute. Thank you. They don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but there is a slight but easily fixable issue with some of the samples. There's a slight clipping sound as the samples cut off. I'm not sure how you're routing these together, but you should be able to use fade outs and crossfades between the sound. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we'll make sure we do that then, Define Dreams. That's it's not a complete deal breaker. We can just add a fade out or something. I did add that, but I probably didn't do it thoroughly enough. It probably needs to be more there must be an actual technique properly, but Divine Dreams is a sound professional, everyone, so they definitely know what they're talking about, and will have the best sound ever with Divine Dreams in our stream, that's for sure. These voices really add a lot of character to these scenes. Yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to go for. That's the aim with this. The whole purpose of bothering in the first place to add different letter sounds is so that we can have a cast that are more memorable and adds character and personality to them, because we lack voice acting, and this is a nice low budget way to achieve something. I felt the text vanished a little too fast. Slow readers will have trouble. Well, the text doesn't disappear. You have to click yourself, so don't worry. Because I recorded it, I had to press, because otherwise it would have been a super long video. But it doesn't cut off automatically, which I get that. Oh, that's a big pet peeve of mine, automatic text going off. You can't take it. It'd be a big rush, so you have to actually click the end to yourself, or if when you finish the text. Yeah. And makes sense. Yeah, it's an easy thing to assume, like, especially because you're watching the video. I probably pressed it too fast. When I take future clips, I can wait a little bit longer maybe. And thing is, you need fades on each clip of the samples. If you listen to the NPC man speech, you can hear how in between each sound it makes a slight clicking noise. Yeah, that's great. So thanks for letting me know that, Define Dreams, because I can make that edit. Is it as simple as just a fade out and fade in on the voice? Because all I have to do then is open the sample in Audacity and make sure that there's a maybe it doesn't fade out. Maybe I forgot. I think I did it on a couple, but not all. So yes, I mean, what you hear here, it doesn't have to necessarily be the polished final version. It's going to be the sample we use for Carol the winner, but we might, of course, make it sound less messy. Like Silence says, we can make sure we don't have any weird noises at the end, any clipping or anything. But what you can hear, it's the essence of her voice overall. That's what we're aiming for. So I'm a slow reader, and that's always a concern of mine during games. Yeah, I mean, are there any games out there that do like make you not like that automatically cut it off? Because I definitely think that's a bad game design move for sure. And it's important to let people read at their own pace. I mean, what if you need to go get a cup of tea in the middle of a scene or something, or get interrupted, right? Gotta go now. Bye everyone. Take care, Dad. Take care. Everyone loves the first one. I'd love to know thoughts on why that one's the favourite. I mean, I think it works. There's a reason it's voice one. It was probably because I thought it was the best, but I wanted to add the other options there because you never know. People might have preferred the sound and essence of the other two. So I think the first voice, if I remember right, is a little bit not quite as over the top. It's a little bit more subtle, but it still captures Carol's personality. More clear and clippy, like an annoyed person. Yeah. The one, I can't remember if it was B or C, but one of them sounds like an absolute spoiled brat, like a crybaby person. Thank you so much, 8-Bit Sculptor, for the raid. I appreciate that. How you guys getting on? How you doing? Welcome. How was your stream? Tell us how it went. I appreciate the raid. Let's give shout out. And if anybody doesn't know, oops, I haven't done this properly, forgetting all the commands. If anyone doesn't know, 8-Bit is Top Bra with a new name. So what were you up to? And oh my gosh, this poll, it's not even a competition at this point, is it? Like, are we gonna get a complete thrash? Is the first voice gonna just completely, I'm actually glad that we've got a clear winner at this point, because it means that the first voice is clearly superior, and it would be kind of sad if it was a close call, because it would mean that we'd have to not use the one voice, and it can always be tricky when there's split opinions on polls. So I actually prefer seeing clear winners on polls like this, because then it makes you feel more confident about the direction that it's gone. So anyone who's just coming in with 8-Bit or just popping in, we are doing a poll. I have shared the opening scene and we are picking a voice for Carol the Barrel, which obviously isn't actual voice acting. It is I've just realised the text was a bit cut off, so I'm going to actually get that out so we can read it properly. We're using letter sounds, a bit like Phoenix Wright, Undertale. There's plenty of other games that don't have voice acting that use letter sounds as a replacement for voice acting, especially like retro games sort of do it, and I feel like Raindrop Chronicles is the ideal sort of game to go down this route. As a game with a large cast of characters, it will have a large cast anyway. It keeps everybody not being the same, helps add a little bit to each character, having a bit of variation. And a space game, not stream game. Oh, a space game. Well, I love space. Was that the one you was doing the other day when I raided you? Was it that same one? Open my stream game in 4 months. Pretty terrifying, yeah. And second voice sounds mumbly, like someone caught gargling mouthwash for all eternity. Third one is alright sounding, but might not be the best fit for Carol's specific character. Yeah, I think the third one was the spoiled cry baby brat voice that I felt it sounded like. And I think I remember being quite into the third voice, but maybe it's too young sounding for Carol. So it's really the one that captures Carol's essence best. And like I said, the losers of the poll could always make a reappearance with another character if we feel it fits someone else better. But over time we'll get so many samples that it's going to be hard to choose ones for each character. But just so you know, I'm going to say again, if anyone in stream has a good quality microphone and ever wants to volunteer to be a voice actor in the game, I mean, it's not a demanding thing to volunteer for. All you'd have to do is say a sentence into your microphone with enough sounds in it. So lots of letters beginning with M would be what we're after. Silent and Lost actually posted some samples in the Discord of sentences that could be said, and because we're using sound in particular to get the looping letter sound for our characters. And all I've got to remember to do with these is to put a proper fade out and fade in on the clips, because we do have a bit of clipping, and Silence noticed that, which is great. It's always good to have a sound professional in the stream so that we can make sure that it's good. But let's not forget, we are in an early build, so we are going to be far from perfect at this point, but it's great to have that pointed out, because it's a good way to make sure it's better. And now, the thing you saw the other day was a wee side project, Asteroids. The space game is a roguelike inspired by FTL, Darkest Dungeon, Slay the Spire. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to have a peek after, because I like space. And I do like Darkest Dungeon as well. I've heard good things about the other games as well, though I've not played them. So let's see how our poll is getting on. And yes, I mean, this poll is just smashing it so much. The A option of this voice, that I'm tempted to just close the poll at the end of this stream. And you know, the way it's going, I was thinking of keeping it open until next Tuesday's stream, when we stream again. But if it carries on being this clear a winner, I'll probably close it at the end of stream, because then it's easier for me to know the voice we've gone for, so I can plan the scenes around that and use that voice for Carol. It's a simple change, like it's quite easy in RPG Maker. I'll get RPG Maker up now to show you how easy it is to change the voice sample, in case, you know, we ever get into a situation in the future where we've given a certain character a voice but we change our mind. It's easy. I've set it up in a way that it's easy to do. I have a common event that calls the talking animation and the voice, the is called along with that, and it's a plugin command letter sound name with the name of the audio file. So it's as simple as just changing the name of the audio file to the correct one. And same for Duncan, who is lower down. Voice of Duncan. So fabulous. And this is the plugin that I'm using to do this. It's this one, Yanfly Extended Message Pack 1, which is an extension of the Message Core plugin, and this whole part here is the letter sounds plugin part. You can change the pitch variance, the sound interval, and pitch, and all sorts. And you can also call those at any time, in any point in an event or scene, by using commands like, where are we? There's a lot. Here we are. Like, for example, if we want to change the pitch to a higher pitch because the character's excited or something, we can just have letter sound pitch and then increase it just a touch, and then it'll change it, and then we can put it back to what it was before. So Silent and Lost mentioned, aka Defined Dreams mentioned, Duncan sound voice is clipping. So I'm going to open Audacity right now, and we can have a little peek at that. See what we can do to make sure we fix any like clipping things that we have. Nita, and have an excellent stream. Take care, 8-Bitscon, and thanks again for dropping off your folks to this channel. Super appreciate it. So Audacity, where are you? Wow, A is a clear winner, right? It really must be more very Carol. But yes, the goal was, when creating them sounds, I wanted them to sound Tsundere angry, like fitted with her personality. I had about 10 samples of Carol's voices for Carol, and I cut like several of them because they sounded too soft and nice and gentle, which isn't Carol at all. So I didn't delete those. I've just put them in a folder for a future day so that we can match them to an NPC that's relevant. There was one in particular that was also quite angry, but it sounded more like an old lady, so I thought that would be better fit for Alvira. Okay, so let's get good old Duncan in here. Here we go. Here's Duncan's voice, everybody. So this is the problem, I assume, Defined Dreams. It's carried on and it needs to fade out. This first bit looks like it's fine. It's quite lengthy, actually, this first bit is, but I've done that on purpose because if there's not enough of a gap, the letter sounds start overlapping. But it's easy adjustment in the plugin as well to avoid letter overlapping. I just increase the what do they call it? The sound interval. You can set the sound interval, which changes how fast and how quickly the letters are read out, which is great. I think I've got it at a fast enough speed, because if I start to have it any faster, the sounds do start overlapping, which we do want to avoid as well. It's nice to keep the sounds as close as possible, but without them overlapping. And yeah, so maybe a fade out about the same size as that silent section at the start. yeah, so it's about experimenting. I might shorten that a bit just to see if it overlaps or not. And if I find it does overlap, I'll just lengthen it a touch until we get the perfect balance, I guess. Maybe we could try cutting that by about that and see how that goes. The short clip is really just caused by instantly going from a higher point of higher gain to a point of zero gain instantly. And so maybe a fade out about the same size as that silent section at the start. Okay, so we want this bit, the actual sound, to be in the centre then, is that what you're saying? So we want the silence at both ends to be of equal length. I think that's what you're saying, and if so, we'll get that done now. So we'll just have to chop a bit off on the left side and bring it across to the right. If I do that, maybe that'll do it. I'm going to just say export selected audio, and I'm going to save it as something else and see if this works, because I think it did another time when I tried. No, it didn't. I don't know what's happened there. It's a good job I didn't save over the old one. Right, so I need to figure out in Audacity how you add silence. I think, let's have a look. Silence, generate silence. There. I don't like how they're apart, but that adds silence. But maybe we don't need quite so much silence now we've added that. We could do that. Maybe that would work. I like Duncan's voice because it's kind of it's warm sounding and pleasant, and I think it fits him, because the goal is to make Duncan quite different to Nigel. He's he's a little bit more masculine, whereas Nigel's not so much, but they're going to be shipped. Nigel and Duncan are going to be the ship. So let's save that as a new file. That's strange, because I did, as you saw folks, I did add plenty of silence at the end, but it looks like it's hardly added any there. Add more again. I mean, that might be plenty of silence. I might be being a bit over the top with the amount of silence I'm trying to add. Might not necessarily be necessary. I'm just paranoid about Duncan's letter sounds overlapping, because it sounds bad when they overlap. But if that's, I don't know why Audacity's not showing properly. Let's fix Audacity, because I've just realised that it's not even, there we go. That's better. don't know where it disappeared to. So if maybe this will fix the clipping now that we've got silence on both ends that are equal length. Do you reckon we should still do a bit of a fade out, or do you think it might be fine? And again, I'm gonna give the poll in chat, anybody that wants to vote. At the moment it's not even a competition, just absolute clear win without question. I'm a little bit surprised, but also not, because you know, voice 1 did work. I wasn't paying super close attention, but make sure that it's fading into a 0 gain. Technically, you shouldn't need any length of silence at the end of the sample, as long as the click is removed. Oh, so I don't even need the silence. I've gone on a bit of a wild goose chase. So really what we want to do then is grab the end. It's more about the fade out than the silence, and I misunderstood because I was assuming earlier that the silence is what we're after, but it's more about the fade out. So is that better? Can do it a bit more maybe. So it was like that originally, how you could see that it was, but I've done a bit of a fade out on the edge, on the end, and it's, I don't know if it's quite enough. We should do it more. Oops, no, what am I doing? Recording? What's this? No. It's recording me. So I've repeated the fade out loads on that example there. I don't know if I've overdone it or... might have to experiment, yeah. And do we want to do the same on the other side as well, where we have a fade in? So that it's not sudden. But that hopefully should get rid of the clipping, because looking at the original sample of this, the one that you guys can hear in the video that I've got in the Discord, it was it's not a surprise it was clipping, because it was just, you know, sudden end with no fade out. I guess test it out by holding shift while pressing play. If there is a way to play back the sample on repeat, it wouldn't hurt to have a fade in, but it shouldn't be required. So it's more about the fade out that matters then, not necessarily fade in. Cool. Just getting tips from a sound pro is what I'm trying to do here. I'm learning how it all works. Hold shift while pressing the play repeat to select. Yeah, that was my trick. That's what I've been doing actually. I was very excited when I found out Audacity did that, because then you can actually hear the voice. I don't think you can hear it much, chat, because we've got music in the background, so I'm going to just pause that. Now, it's not entirely accurate. What you can hear here is a much... It's like a little bit different how the RPG Maker plugin produces the sound. But I can experiment with that plugin because it does let you change the letter interval a bit, so I can always aim to get it sounding a bit closer to this in RPG Maker if we wish. But RPG Maker lets us have a bit of varied pitch as well, I try not to vary the pitch too much because it can sound very jarring to have too much pitch variance between letters, but by a little bit, a tiny touch, it can work and give a little bit of life to the character that don't sound quite so monotone. I hope that isn't hurting everyone's ears and it isn't too loud. Oh, isn't it? Couldn't you hear it then? We don't actually hear it. Is the reason the gain is so low? We can always amplify it a bit if we want. The problem is though, I don't want it to be too loud in game. I have the settings, you can edit volume in RPG Maker. I have the sound volume at 100% in RPG Maker. I know at one point I had it at 10% because the voices were very loud in Audacity. And then when I brought them in game, they were like, whoa, you couldn't even hear anything else other than the sounds because they were just overpowering. So it's about getting the balance right, isn't it? Like between the music and the other sound effects in the game and the voices, really. So it might take a bit of experimentation. I'm still not sure whether I want to, what the ideal sound volume to have it on is, but if I have it on something really low or lowish, then I can make it louder in Audacity. But if I have it on 100, then I've got to kind of have it quiet in Audacity because then it's too loud in game. So maybe, you know, it is probably better to make it louder in Audacity but quieter in the plugin. That's probably the better thing to do. I don't think I notice any click noises now. Can you edit the volume for each different sample in RPG Maker? Yeah. So what you see here is the ways I can edit in the engine, the sound, all the sound things. So as you can see, I currently have it on 100, which is the reason it's so quiet in Audacity. But I can always lower that. So the option's there if I want to have lower sound volume in the engine and make it louder in the program. Otherwise, just going to make sure the samples you use in game are matched in Audacity. Yeah, that's kind of important for sure, because otherwise you'll have a very loud characters and some that are quiet. And although you can think, well, yeah, some characters will be a bit on the louder side, some people will be more softly spoken, and some will be like Carol, where they're a bit more angry and loud, but at the same time you don't want the volume levels to be too different, do you? So we can do that. I'm going to put that level down to 50. We're going to experiment, and I'm going to increase it in Audacity. Maybe we should do it like that. So all we have to do is amplify the best way to increase gain, would you say? I'm going to ask you sound pros. Why is Audacity being weird now? Now that's why, it's because I had the sound there. So I've clicked effect and amplify, and it doesn't let me go over a certain level because then it starts clipping. So the loudest 20, that'd be too loud, do you reckon? So that's Duncan's voice at super fast speed. So that's made it louder. That's probably, I'm sure you guys can hear that now. It's coming up on OBS that you can. But would you say that this is okay? I mean, or I might have made it way too loud. I'm thinking, what should we aim for? Because it is very quiet, isn't it, when you look at that? But now I've lowered the volume in RPG Maker, we do have room to increase volume here, but maybe that's too much, or I don't know. That's what the sound pros in chat can help with. But I don't think it matters too much, does it, as long as it's not clipping, I'm assuming. Which that shouldn't be, because it wouldn't let me clip it. But if there's any clipping, let me know, and I'll just do another fade on that, if so. And I don't think it matters too much about the start, does it? Let's see how our poll's getting on now. Oh, still winning. Yeah, I think at this rate we will be closing the poll at the end of stream. Because the winner is... I think it's very unlikely that the other voices are gonna win now. But if anybody does want to vote, then there you go. There's the poll. 50% in RPG Maker might be too loud. Now I've increased it to that. But we can always test. As long as there's no clipping, I'm good, and I'm happy to save that. But I mean, my ears are okay, but because I'm still pretty much a noob with this sort of thing, my ears might not sort of get like recognise it as well as say someone like Divine Dreams if there is clipping. I want to listen to the original though, because I want to see the difference. So I can see how bad the clipping was on that one compared to this new one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open Audacity. Because I think I've still got the old one saved, unless I did save over it. I can't remember. No. So how do you make one of those these M voices? I mean, when you get the sentence done, it has other vowel sounds in it. Yes, I'm gonna show. I think I'll show you guys. Actually, I think I should show you, give you an idea of how I did the Carol voices, and the Duncan voices. I'll show. I think that's a good thing to show you guys, because it's true what Van says. Like if you say like the word Monday, you start getting to the O part, don't you? But there's a trick. It's a very easy trick. Once you know, it's great, and that's why I'm attached to the M sounds in particular, because it lets you get a very good sample that other letters don't so much, in my opinion. Maybe it's because the M sound drags a bit and it's quite long, so it lets you get more out the sample than a lot of other letters. Let's just get, before we do that, let's just, is this the old one? Yeah, I think this is the old one. Let's see the difference. Yeah, I think I know what silent means. It's the very edge, isn't it? You can hear, it's like staticky sounding. There's a static there, almost. That's what it reminds me of. So whereas that one I don't think has it, or if it has, it's a lot less noticeable than the other version. So what I'll do is I'll get that saved and get the old Duncan voice replaced with this one, so it doesn't have clipping at the end. All right, so now I'm gonna have a little, we'll have a mess around today, and I'm going to show you exactly how I managed to create the samples, in case anyone's curious or wants to steal ideas. I think it's a nice, easy way to get lots of little blips done without it being too demanding of your time. It doesn't require heavy editing or loads of like synth stuff. Like one thing I'm trying to do is make the voice sounds not sound too computerized, because I want Raindrop Chronicles to have quite a natural, realistic sound to it. a lot of the sound effects I'm going for are more natural, and a lot of the resources I'm using from freesound.org and other websites, I'm tending to go for, like, if you listen to Duncan's footsteps and on the clip, they're like real footsteps, real grass footsteps and real pavement footsteps that have been recorded. And I think because of the genre of it, it's a fantasy. I want it to try and be immersive, despite being a 2D pixel game. I think it works for it to be less computerized and more natural. So the voices at the ends and the samples I'm going for, I want to try and aim for them to sound quite human in a way, like a person, rather than a computer program making a blip sound. And I think this Duncan voice and the Carol voice that's winning the poll at the moment do sound like they have come from a human in a way. They're not overly synthesized, but they're also, the sample's also small enough for it to not like sound like a person actually talking. So I think it's the right balance what we're going for here. The new one doesn't have the click as bad. There is a very slim chance that RPG Maker introduces the click, but I doubt it. Let's hope not, because that would be very mean of them. If it so happens that the plugin is the problem, then I'll try and go on the support forums and see if there's a solution. But looking at that preview clip, that old version, it did have a very, very abrupt end, and there wasn't really a fade out on it, so I'm assuming that was the culprit. Okay, so I'm gonna just get this new Duncan voice saved, and then we're gonna go on freesound.org and we're gonna have a little play around and make some M noises, because Van asked the question of how do you get the M sounds, because there's vowel sounds, and I'll show you how I get the M. It's taken a few days of experimenting myself, because I wasn't originally set on going for the M's at first. It didn't even cross my mind. I was actually looking at vowels like O's and R's and different sounds like that, and it kind of worked and was effective, but when it loops the O's and the I's, it can start to get a bit on the obnoxious side. They're not the most easy to listen to repeated blips when it's O's and R's, but M's are very, very, I think they're more pleasant and a bit softer. So voice of Duncan, there we go, save, and I'll replace that after. So I'm going to get the Duncan voice that I used actually. We'll show that as an example. Now, I've got a notepad file somewhere of all my credits of where I get the sounds from. And I've got voice of Duncan. And here's the voice of Duncan. I've got their link. So we're going to open up Internet Explorer now. We're going to go on the person's free sound page. It's loading. Okay, so this person is putting sounds up on the Creative Commons attribute license, which basically means you can use them for free so long as you credit the person in the credits of your project. And they have a variety of voice requests here. It's a male sounding voice, and there's a lot of people on this website and other free sound websites that do stuff like this, so it's kind of cool in a way that there's plenty of choice. It would definitely be, you know, if I had to rely on you guys to be the ones to produce the sound and myself to create free samples, we'd be a bit more limited, wouldn't we then? So it's nice that the internet exists and there's things in that have these free licenses for us to use. Because I'm not going to be using cartoons like Patrick for the voices, because it's a bit risky. It's best to keep as far away from possible from famous people's voices, I reckon. Although it can be very tempting to use them, because you think, oh yeah, I love that character. You don't want to end up with a legal problem, potentially. Even though there's not always anything to prove it, because I record my streams, probably there is. Okay, so let's see if, let me know if you can hear these loud enough as we do them.
I don't know. I think maybe it's easier to get a new one.
So that's one. I don't think that was the one I used though.
Open the door. Where are you? Where are you?
I used one with an M in it, obviously. There isn't an M in where are you, and there isn't an M in open the door. We'll just find any random one that has an M in it, and then we'll drag it into Audacity.
Some moments.
I'm not putting these on my head in case anyone's curious. It's because I've got a bobble right at the
Did it? I mean,
oh no, I can't. I can't
say I believe in you the whole time.
Which one is it? Oh, it's gone. I've got a bobble on the top of my head, so it'll hurt my head if I have my headphones on. So I'm using it like this. Right. So this one could be one we could use because he's saying and that's an M1, and he's saying maybe as well, and that's an M sound.
I don't know.
So I will take this one. This might have been the one I actually used for Duncan, actually. Now I think about it. And the one I used for Carol was obviously a female person speaking. She was mad in the clip. I just searched angry female or angry woman, and there was some voice requests of a woman being mad. And I just took some of her samples for Carol. So download. So there's two versions. There's some that are in public domain, and there's some, when it's public domain, you don't even have to credit, but I like to anyway. I'd probably credit things that are in the public domain. All you have to do for this is credit the sound, which I always write religiously where I get my stuff from in a notepad file, so that I don't forget. And Looking Glasses says, the potential headache of getting legal notice later down the road simply isn't worth it. Yeah, and I've got to be very careful about that when you making a project, a commercial one especially, because it would just be stress that you don't need. And I try to avoid as much as possible doing anything that could be considered copyright. I try to stay clear from. I remember in the early days of this project, we made a Colonel Sanders NPC. It was very funny and it was a joke, really. But someone like that wouldn't make the cut into actually being a real NPC because it's way too risky. You can't, it's just... If we ever have references and Easter eggs, we'd I'm still even paranoid about having Easter eggs in the game in case they'd be a legal problem to some. I've kind of got to read up a bit more about it and do a bit more research on subjects like that to see what actually is allowed and what isn't. But in today's climate, things just change. Something that wasn't allowed something that was allowed 5 years ago changes into something illegal. It's all messed up, copyrighted. Got to be super careful. Making references for an Easter egg is fine, yeah. So I'm glad to know it is, because it would be fun to do stuff like that. But I still get paranoid that one day they'll be like, oh no, you can't do that anymore. That's it. Your game needs to be taken down off the store. You'd be like, no. Okay, so here is just the world's a scary place. It scares me because have you guys heard recently that people on Twitter are getting permanently suspended because they are posting clips of music and getting DMCA'd? I didn't even think Twitter did that. I thought that was a problem with Twitch, not Twitter. So it's getting very, very it's getting messed up. Like putting Link and Mario's names on gravestones, totally cool also. And there are a lot of eyes on Twitch now. I feel bad for streamers who used to play music in their streams. Their clips, videos, so much of their early stream history had to be shelved. Yeah, it is sad, and it's very frustrating, especially when you see that it's not getting better and getting worse. That might be less cloud of green clad left-handed hero named Link showing up. Yeah, there's a line, isn't there, by how far it can go. That's for sure. Alright, so Audacity. Let's get you back up. Here we go. So this is a sound sample that I just downloaded from this page here on freesound.org. It's a man speaking, saying, I don't know, over and over again. So if anybody in the community has a good microphone and ever want to do something like this, they want to be the voice actor of a character, for example, all you'd have to do is record something like this. And it could be made into something workable.
I don't know. I think maybe it's easier to get a new one. We can go to the store later to see if they have any in stock. I don't know. So
he's just repeating the same sentence over and over and over again. So, because I decided on sounds, for consistency, I mean, I could easily just think, oh, I like that O sound and I like that B sound and that gut sound. But if I use too many different sounds for different characters, it could get a bit, it could risk being jarring and too weird, and so it's probably best to keep consistent and stick to noises, because you can surprisingly get a few out. So we'll have to replace curl sodas with Captain Polishers. Be fun when we do finally make more NPCs in Lakefall, that's for sure. I mean, we are going to have a Lakefall mayor, I'm sure. So he can be the old guy of Lakefall, whoever this mayor's going to be. Okay, so there's can I put this on? Yeah, that's fine actually. If I wear them like this, then it doesn't hurt my head. It doesn't get in the way of the bobble. Cool. So there's two sounds in this.
I don't know. I think maybe it's
there's a and there's a maybe. So and if you don't want the H bit of the you can just do that. And obviously there's clipping there because we've done it in the middle of someone's speaking, so that's why we had a clipping problem with Nigel originally, because I didn't fade it properly. But that's one that you can get, and that's just him saying and As for like ones with vowels in, like maybe and stuff, what I tend to do, I just make sure I don't get the A bit or the letter that comes after. I just grab the M bit of the sample, because M is quite, when people say words with that start with M, there's a bit of a period of time where the M's it drags a bit, so it allows us to get plenty of sample from that.
I think maybe.
So where's maybe?
Maybe it's easier to. Maybe it's.
So this is the maybe bit.
Maybe it's.
That's the B part of maybe, I think.
I think maybe.
That's the bit. So, you know what I mean? I've totally missed that when he starts going into the bit of maybe there. I've just got the like the very, very start. Because if I make that sample any longer, then it does go into the A. But that just gets the nothing but the And when it's repeated, you can tell that's a guy, right? It's pretty obvious that's like a deeper, sort of more masculine sounding voice. And you just have to get rid of the edge bits so it doesn't clip, and then it can sound, when you put it into the engine, because it automatically assigns the sample with every single letter sound. That's how I've managed to get that effect. And it looks like it's the same thing Undertale did looking at YouTube, because that tutorial, how to get Sans voice in 60 seconds, is the same thing as this. They got that that sample of Patrick talking and just grabbed a part of it. And I think they used the R bit for Sans, didn't they? An A, not an M. So,
maybe.
And if, like, you know, you think, well, that is not very good, then I just go to the next sentence.
We can go to the store later to see if they have any in. I don't know. I think maybe.
Now this might be a longer than the first one.
I think maybe.
Yeah, that's a very long And you can tell, like, just looking at the you know, this here, that's the M bit, because it's the quieter bit on that you can see visually. And as soon as they start saying the vowel, that's where it gets louder. Like, that's probably the A bit.
Maybe.
But I've found that the bit is always the like slightly quieter part of the sound, so it's easy enough to recognise it. And I like doing the more than the other letters because it's just quicker to get them done. I found when I was trying to get samples of R's and O's and other letters, I was spending like an hour just trying to find a good sample, and I was like, whoa, this could be time consuming. But with the I like in the last 5-10 minutes of looking through this, there was three different so you can get them out easier. I think it's easier to find them. Personally, for me, I like them most. I love that people put little tutorials online to help others out. I know it's very useful, and the sound thing, like when it comes to like sound design, was something that I'm trying to pull off with our characters in Raindrop Chronicles. There's so many approaches you can do. Like Celeste, for example, have a completely different one to what I'm doing. I was originally looking at their game as inspiration because I think that theirs sound really good and charming. And there was a whole tutorial couple of hours long online about how they did that I found a couple of streams ago. But it turned out that it was a very, very complicated process, like very, very in-depth and detailed. They like do every single vowel and everything for each letter sound, and I'm trying to go for the most simplest, minimal approach possible so that I'm making best use of my time and it's not taking over the project for the cast of characters we've got. This will have quite a lot over time, and but at the same time produce something good from that easy way that actually sounds okay and not completely atrocious. So let's try that one as an example. So we will trim that audio, so we've only got that now, and we just do the fade out thing, which to avoid the clipping bit. And I don't think, from what Defined Dream said, I don't think the start bit matters as much. It's mainly the end bit that matters. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, because I want to ensure that I'm correct with what I'm doing. So there we go. We've got a male, masculine sounding voice, and it's the one we used for Duncan. So this might sound a little bit different to the Duncan sample because it might be a different section of the voice, that particular clip that we used for Duncan. I can't remember which one now it was, but it's the same person speaking, so it's got that same tone that Duncan has. And I'm actually going to save that one as well and try out that one as well for Duncan and see which one we prefer. Let's see the difference. Between the two, because I'm curious now. Now, we made this one very loud. We amplified it. Now, that one's it's a little bit of a shorter, that one is. It's like a very, it's the same person, but it's a shorter one, and it's louder as well. So, I mean, I'm not sure about amplify. Like, I'm still trying to make my mind up whether I want to, like, over amplify the sounds. I don't want them to lose their human-like quality and to start sounding too synthy. And luckily, the RPG Maker let us increase the volume anyway, so it doesn't end up being too quiet in the game. But let's just say if we was to increase that. So that's like even louder now. But that's it at its natural version, that one there. So yeah, it's pretty fun, and that's kind of the method I'm going to go about doing it. So if anyone here has a good mic and wants to join in and wants to say stuff at any point in time, you're totally more than welcome to. You can say sentences like that, and we'd get plenty of M's out of that. Did I quieten my mic a bit? Let's make it a bit louder now. There we go. So basically you cut out the M parts and put them together. Well, that's just it. You don't have to do anything else, because the plugin I've got on RPG Maker does the rest for me, which is a big relief, right? Because I didn't know this existed at first. When I first had this idea, I was kind of daunted by the idea of it being a high maintenance, time consuming job of putting all the letters together manually myself. But the good thing is all we need is that tiny bit of audio sample, because RPG Maker, which, let's just get it up. We're just lucky we have a plugin that exists to do this, because it wouldn't have been possible otherwise. And I'm sure other game engines, Unity or other ones, have their method as well. In fact, I'm even surer that they'd have an approach to do it, because if it's in RPG Maker, I'm sure it would be in other engines. Basically, the plugin I use, there's a plugin, a very, very popular one, called Message Core, that allows you to kind of edit the messages, the dialogue boxes by default in general, like the font size, if it wraps, how fast the text is, and little details like name tags and pauses in between text and all sorts. And there's an extension to that plugin called Extended Message Pack 1, which allows you to have these letter sounds. So it lets you pick an audio file by default, which a lot of games by default have a default letter sound in general, don't they? Phoenix Wright being one of them. But I do, from what I remember, Phoenix Wright do vary their letter sounds, depending on the situation in the game, if I'm correct. But I do know that they have a lot of letter sounds. And it lets you vary it up. But all you need to do is give the sound file, and whatever sound file you give, it will loop and repeat that sound over and over again while the character's speaking. So as every letter and word comes up for them, you'll get their sound, and then when they've stopped speaking, it will stop. So it's really nice that exists, because then it's an easy job for me. The plugin does the hard work, and all I have to do is, if I want to vary it, I have the option to change pitch, to change variance, and things like that. So to change it for each character, there's just a little script you have to use, to change it for each character, so you don't have to use the default one. That's why I've got it blank. So you take the end parts, save them, dump them into RPG Maker, and the plugin puts the stuff together. That's basically it. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that that's a thing, because it's working quite well. I was, at first, when I first jumped into this, I was wondering how much work would be involved. I was like, is this going to be time consuming? And at first I was a little bit concerned, and I was like, are we going to do it or not? Because it could be time consuming. But once I saw that this plugin existed, it was like, oh yeah, this is great. Because this is what it is. Letter sounds, that's what we do it. And the sound is a super important part to me of making a game more immersive. So I want to try and put time into not neglecting that. It can be easy to just focus on the visuals and the story and gameplay and neglect sound. But it shouldn't be neglected, in my opinion, because it can add so much if done well. If done well. So we're gonna make that a little challenge for us. Give every single NPC their little sound that's distinct to them, and it'll be cute. I think the aim is for it to be charming, and for us to sort of get attached to these characters because they've got a cute voice or whatever. That's kind of how I see it as. Because not gonna lie, when I've played games in the past, I liked characters just because they've got a cute little sound, but I'm a weirdo like that. I'm like one of these people that get attached for silly things like that. Not everybody does. So So yes, it's going to be fun, and I'm curious what Asharu's going to sound like. Yeah, if anyone wants to start thinking about certain characters in the game and what kind of tone they'd have, feel free to say. You know, if anyone finds any good voice samples, any extracts online, as long as they're public domain or free for copyright for using in a commercial project with credits, then we're good. It can be used. And yeah, so I think it's brought a lot of life to the opening scene since adding those voices compared to the original version, which didn't have them. So it's going to be really exciting to finish the scene work off. Next week, what are we going to do? We're going to just go through finishing the rest of the main quest 1 scenes off, I think, next week. So we've got the scene where Carol joins us and becomes our inventory. We've got the scene where we meet Fiona and push her in the lake, and then we find Rose in the cabin and Violet. And Violet joins the party. So probably be that section we'll be working on next week, because the opening scene is like 95% done now. It's pretty polished at this point for the first build, I'd say. And I want to move on to getting the other scenes churned out. And yeah, once main quest 1 scenes are done, then it's main quest 2 scenes. Then after main quest 2 scenes, we'll work on getting the battles implemented and seamlessly integrated with the scenes. We won't talk about the battles yet because we're focusing on scenes, but that's the next goal after scenes. And then pretty much after that, once we're satisfied, it will be sort of on to the point of thinking about the release of Build 1, the public demo. But I'm expecting this Steam page announcement to be the first thing that gets announced. Probably at some point in March for the Steam page announcement, I'd say. And we'll probably be more towards May, maybe late May for the demo build, which is still the spring. So if we get that, we still hit the target, because the goal was to have a spring demo release. And that press list we was doing last stream, when we was doing that massive megalith spreadsheet, I'll be emailing out to folks on that list when we have both those news announcements, so that'll be exciting. And even, you know, the goal is to email about 100 people, and even if just one of those 100 was to notice us, that's a win for me. And I couldn't agree more. Sound design is very important, very character voice. Even if it's speak or gibberish talk, it can make a very charming impression, yeah. And I think Raindrop Chronicles ultimately really suits that style as well, because it's a quirky game. It's a quirky game with a very wacky cast. Like, Carol, you can't get more strange and unconventional than her. So to have like sort of cute little sound effects fits with the quirky game world. And I suppose the goal is to have it so that they're not too obnoxious sounding. I think Banjo-Kazooie are kind of the ones that are the stars of all this gibberish talk, I guess, but Get Banjo can be a little bit over the top, in my opinion, with the sounds. They're like really extreme. I think they're quite cute, but I'm trying to approach a slightly more subtle way of doing it, just a touch, but still so that they're distinct and the characters stand out and have a unique voice. And it's nice because, you know, when you can't have voice acting, it can make you start to think, is it lacking because it doesn't have that? You've got to solely rely on the dialogue then, and that being good. And for sure, writing's the most important thing to make sure you're good at, because you don't want to just try and cover up bad writing with fancy things. But, you know, it really can add a lot to just introduce these things. And I'm happy that I've got the animated mouths now as well, because I don't think this could have been pulled off as well, these talking letter sound voices, if they didn't have those animated mouths that we've got now. It would have been a bit strange to see a closed mouth not moving at all with the sound, and it kind of wouldn't have made it as obvious that the character's actually talking and that's the character's voice. So I'm super happy with how it's going, because it's all been about the talking and the talking animations and the voices the last few streams, really. But I think we're at a point where I'm sort of nailing that, and I've got the plan out for how I'm approaching it. I use this common event here for it. And we're introducing NPCs one by one. So we've got Carol, we've got Duncan. We've also got the mysterious person in the character creator that does speak and asks you questions about what you want your character to look like. So they'll have a voice as well. So that'll be an interesting one to get in. And then it's Fiona. And then it's Violet, who doesn't actually even really need a voice, but she probably does, because she still makes animal sounds, because Violet's a character that doesn't speak. So at first I was thinking she wouldn't need one, but now and again she'll probably make sort of noise, even though it isn't actual speaking. So they're like the next ones that are coming, which we will do as we do the scenes, because next week we'll probably get to the Fiona and Violet scenes. We might find that we'll be exploring their voices then as well as we do that. And then it's, oh my goodness, after that it's the Barrel Crew. Their voices, that's gonna be so much fun to make them all distinctive. And I think the wagon scene with the barrels will be even more charming, having them have different voices as they chat on that wagon. So it'll be fun to do that. And then it's the fruits. How fun is it going to be to give each of the fruits their own little voice as well? I imagine that Lemon would have a more deeper, older man voice. And Blueberry would have a very cute, sweet voice. But it's all up for consideration. Like, if anyone has any thoughts, like any sort of energy or aura they get off a character, then make sure you tell us, because it'll really help find the perfect energy and matching sample for that character. Because we want to get it perfect. We want to make sure that the voice matches them as good as it can. I can't wait to see this in motion. Yeah, I'm super excited too. I'm going to just put some music back on in the background. Now that we've finished with the sounds, because I'm especially excited for the next several weeks, because we're going to slowly be getting these scenes like up, and the one in Nepal, this one here, is just the first of many that are to come. And although, you know, I've already kind of done a lot of scene work last year, the scene with the barrels, the scene with the fruits, the scene with Fiona being pushed in the lake, they're all done really, but they're getting smoothed over. And obviously we're adding this extra detail to them now with the voices and the talking mouths. So and there's a few dialogue changes and expansions on those scenes as well, so it's going to be really, really fun to get them added. And I'm planning on doing a bunch of screenshot Saturdays each Saturday as well, maybe starting from this week. So keep an eye on the Twitter, because that'll be fun to get our new scenes up. So yes, we voice one for Carol is completely kicking butt on this poll, that's for sure. And I'm very hungry. I want a snack. I don't have one though. Damn, what am I gonna do? My dinner will be soon, but I'm starving. I need something. I need like a little snack to have when I get hungry on stream. Alright, so now I am probably going to close this poll at the end of stream, so anybody that hasn't got the vote in, make sure you do, although it's probably not going to make much difference, but you never know. And because we will be closing it as the stream comes to an end today. And until then, until the end of the stream, what else are we going to do today? Let's have a look what's on our list of things to do and remind ourselves. So, as you can see, I'm kind of like getting scene 1 and character creator sort of finished. It's like on the way to being done. See, the Nigel part of the scene, there's not too much work involved in that scene 2. It's mainly just getting Nigel done, getting his blanket thing done, although it's kind of already done. We thought about maybe just having him close his eyes and blink a little bit, add a bit of animation, just a touch to it, which won't be too bad. Do his voice and animation. I imagine compared to Duncan, Nigel would sound, I see those two as polar opposites in the energy they give off and their personality. So I think Nigel would be a lot more posh and a bit more nervous sounding in his character voice. And then we got the massive scene 3, which is when Carol joins us for good, and there's a lot of Carol dialogue in that scene, and that's what I'm going to be working on this weekend, folks. I'm going to be working on getting scene 3, getting some of that done, and obviously getting scene 1 and 2 done and dusted, so that we can move on to scene 4 and 5 of Main Quest 1 with Fiona and Violet being introduced to the game. One thing that's going to be important, I felt now, especially because scene 3 is very Carol heavy, is that I start considering different expressions for the Carol sprite. And we did talk a little bit about this the other day. Let's get Carol's sprite thing up. So her sprite sheet is here. Where is it hiding? Here it is. So right now she's just got the one same face, and it's very angry looking, of course. She's very glary with a stare. We have a version with her eyes facing left, and we also have a version of her eyes facing the other way too, but that's all so far. Now, that scene that you can see in the poll channel, guys, one thing I do want to add to that scene that's currently missing is the moment Duncan appears, I want Carol to look surprised for a few frames before she hides. I think that would add a lot to the scene, because currently at present she doesn't do anything. She just looks like that and then she's gone. So I think a few frames of surprise face could add a lot as a reaction to a person coming, so she sort of panics. That's kind of been on the agenda for a while. And I'm kind of just thinking, you know, of different expressions that might be really suitable for Carol that we could consider today. And I'm gonna slowly get some of those done and see what we can come up with. It's been a landslide vote so far from the say. Has it really? That first voice, everybody just really loved that. So. Which is good to see, because I kind of feel like, oh no, when it's a split decision, when there's people that like one and then another, when it's very 50-50, because you can almost like think, well, that one was liked as well, and then feel bad that it lost. But when you see that one's a clear winner, you just think, yeah, that's clearly the best one then. At least you don't have to create Violet's voice, silent character. Yeah, which I was saying earlier, technically she doesn't need a voice, but she might make like little animal sounds now and again, right? Like there'll be periods of times where originally we was going to have her hiss now and again when she was angry, but we've kind of made her a bit more docile, haven't we? We've made her more of a soft vampire that isn't violent at this point in her character arc anyway. We did say that there's a good chance that if you're an evil or roguish kind of hero, that you can have an influence on Violet and make her become more violent throughout the course of the game. That would be her negative character arc. But it could also be seen as a positive character arc depending on perspective. There's no there's not really a clear, not necessarily a clear outcome of what's good and evil entirely all the time in this game, because it's subjective based on how you feel. Some people might think of violence is the best path for Violet for her to become a powerful vampire, but that could be an outcome from the brave, more slightly bad hero that could send her down that road. And if that's the case, she would probably need some more animal violent sounds over time, but I imagine she wouldn't be very vocal in early game at all. And I think with Violet, it's more about character expression that's going to get her emotions across, like a sad or disappointed face, for example. So I was thinking, should we make a mood board for the last part of the stream today of some inspiration that's going to help, get some good Carol angry expressions that are very fitting for a character. So let's get Google Images up and we'll see what there is. If anyone finds any good reference images, folks, feel free to send them over and I'll add them to the mood board. Should we use Draw.io for this? Because now that we're really focusing purely on the map sprites as our visual assets for the characters, it's more important than ever that we go all out and make those map sprites expressive, rather than have them just be a static, Carol looking like that all the time. It'd be cool to really create some different types, and it's something to build on over time. Like in the first playable build, we won't necessarily have all the expressions. We might want to add over time to add more detail, but we definitely need a couple to start with. We could do the slightly angrier looking face maybe, and a surprised one for when she disappears, when Duncan comes. So I'm getting Draw.io up here. I figured this might be the easiest program to use for a mood board, a reference mood board, because it's really hard for me to create art without reference images, like for inspiration, because it's very helpful. So that's a decent reference image. Why isn't it copying properly? Copy? Does it really not paste images? I know that you can drag images into Draw.io. That's, yeah, you got to do it that way. In fact, we'll get Carol here herself. So we can try and imagine her looking angry. This one. I keep copying and pasting them. Mood board for angry Carol expressions. Thank you, Jason, for that follow. I super appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. So if anyone's welcome to send over a reference image if something really captures Carol's aura that you think would look interesting as a sprite, just, you know, a character in a game. Oh, look, it's Natsuki from Doki Doki Literature Club. She's the perfect inspiration for Carol the Barrel. And just trying to imagine like how the pixels, because with pixel art, like you could just change a few pixels and it makes a massive difference, right? And she's already got, like, Carol's already got an angry face, but it's about just pushing it further. And I guess could turn the mouth down, make her red in the face. There's a few ways to go about it, I guess. Say hi from Brazil. Hi from Brazil. How are you? Hi to Brazil, should I say. Welcome. Hope you're having a great day. This is an interesting one as well, actually. Red eyes that are like very slanted, shaped with a wide open mouth. Something like that could work. I don't know if the red eyes would be overdone. I would want to try it out, but who knows. There's many visual directions to go, as long as it fits. I mean, I say, would red eyes be overdone? But then in the opening scene, we have like a complete, like, shocked, wide open nanny face for the custom hero. So as you can see, we do kind of go a bit over the top on facial expressions, and it's fine too. Could you exaggerate the eyebrows a little? Probably could. I mean, did you guys see? If you've seen on the poll, folks, let's just open the example so you can see. I think it was about the first part. Yeah, this. I got it just straight away. Not that face. That's a little bit more subtle. Whereas that one, it's not letting us zoom in any further than that. I wish it did, because I really want to zoom in on that face. Let's do a print screen. Paint. Here we go. Let's just get it up and zoom in super close. So as you can see, we do go pretty over the top on expressions with that wide open mouth and no pupil in the eye face. That's like the real surprised face. Which it would look like that if you'd seen a living barrel, right? And so, yeah, I can be ambitious and exaggerated with the expressions. I think it fits the game and the style for us to go in, to, like, you know, exaggerate the features a little bit to get that emotion conveyed. That's true, yeah. So. And we use the same face for Fiona when she gets pushed in the lake in scene 4 of Main Quest 1 as well, and I'm looking forward to reworking that scene soon as well. But yeah, these slanted eyebrows, as I can see on all these reference pictures, are kind of a thing, and we could just further slant them, perhaps. Let's have a look at some more. Well, Carol actually does look like the angry bird, doesn't she, with the eyebrows? Why is Sans here? Sans is never mad. Oh, yeah, that's Mad Sans, this one here. I don't like how he keeps flashing now. I'll put him there so we can, we don't have to see. Actually, I'd rather take a screenshot of that. And use a flat image. Oh, smoke out the ears. I saw that one the other day. Imagine if we did that. That would be very over the top. It's a good set to have some whimsical visuals. Yeah, Raindrop Chronicles, you know, it's a quirky game, and I think it definitely falls under whimsy and whimsical and that. So it's great to be able to have the freedom to explore that. And I think, like, to describe Raindrop Chronicles, it definitely has a dark themes, but with quirkiness and silliness mixed in. I guess my goal is to evoke all the emotions. I want to kind of not miss a single one. I sent Rex a diagram last night, which I think is a very cool diagram, so I'm going to get that up now. these are all the emotions, like, of all time, right? I think this diagram basically hits all the emotions. If there's any missing, let me know. But these are like all the emotions that you can feel and some that come off them. So I see it as a challenge to myself for every scene in the game, or every quest even, or every conversation, to sort of evoke something on here. If it evokes more than one thing, that's even better, because layers are good. The opening scene, to me, I'm hoping, well, I aimed for it to hit interest and surprise, I guess, because you're surprised that a living barrel's there. That's definitely surprising. Interest because of the whole, oh, things are coming to life in the forest, and the forest, things have been happening in the forest, things have been, this is intriguing. Like, it already introduces that theme of things are coming to life that shouldn't be as early on as the first minute of the opening scene, which was a reason why we wanted to do an expansion in the first place, because the original version of that scene was just pure slapstick comedy, and it didn't even introduce any threat or hook. I mean, Carol herself being a living barrel is a hook, and that was funny and amusing, but we wanted to go that bit further and add a bit of intrigue too. So hopefully it adds surprise and quirkiness and silliness and wackiness in that scene, but also mystery and intrigue as well. It's a good map of a lot of the general emotional states, yeah. So I love the idea, because I've got a bit of evil writer within me. I just love the idea of the audience and the player not knowing what's going to come next. If things are like just all depressing or all funny but no other emotions, then it's kind of predictable, right? So so you don't know what scene, whether the next scene's going to be a wholesome one or a scary one or a sad one or a funny one. Like, you just don't know what's going to come next, and I like that idea. It makes things fun and varied. So just so you know, that's kind of a technique I use, like, when it comes to new story elements and scenes, to like consider things like the emotions. So I kind of always have that saved to look at as a reference and a guide. Did we add the smoky ones? We did, didn't we? Hopefully, I might have some extra Carol assets to show off next Tuesday's stream. I might make it a thing to work on some emotions for all, or it might be something we actually start doing in the stream, the next stream. We might have the next stream be a Carol Pixel Art stream where we do a few expressions. I'll see how I feel, and if I might do some off stream, but I might save it for next week. It all depends, because it depends what I get done over the next few days. It's a very angry sun. I'm curious though, because we were talking about emotions. What's everybody's favourite emotion to feel in a piece of media? I'm always drawn to the sad stuff, I have to say, but at the same, like, I love tragedy like, I'm always drawn to like sad stories that are tear jerkers, but at the same time, I don't like something to be just all that. I like it to have other feelings too. Like, I like a bit of comedy thrown in, a bit of silliness, a bit of wholesomeness, and a bit of joy, a bit of mystery, a bit of creepiness now and again, like if it's done well. When it comes to horror, I can, like, jump scares and like overdone things like that don't really interest me, but I do sometimes enjoy a bit of psychological creepiness. That's even better. It gives you more freedom to convey the story, balance things out. Even the darker video games have some levity in them, like Easter eggs, because game developers aren't trying to depress anyone. With Raindrop Chronicles, levity can feel more organic. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I don't know if there's any games out there that are just 100% depressing, but I tend to avoid playing the ones that come across that way, because I know that I don't want to feel depressed, because life can be depressing enough as it is. But if I know that there's some joyous moments mixed in, and then, like, you know, I'm kind of tempted then. I want to feel all the emotions. I mean, I know that that's the reason why I've not played The Last of Us, because it's meant to be super depressing, right? Like, is it like 100% depressing for anyone that's played that game? There might be some funniness or other emotions in it, for all I know. Haven't played it, so I don't know. That's a funny looking creature. So I'm particularly looking for reference images that have got very exaggerated angry expressions that are very workable, like fit with pixel art. And that's an angry face, that one there. Angry Pikachu. So what I'm going to do, because the actual pixel art man here himself isn't angry, I'm going to do this. You can't even see it because it's cropped off, chat, but there's an angry face here at the edge of this picture. I'm copying anything that gives me Carol energy. This thing does here. Has it got up to the top again? I think it has, hasn't it? I think we got quite a few references now. I think there's a good range to be inspired by there. Yeah, I think we've got every single angry face on the internet now. Just double checking we haven't missed out any really cool ones that could give us some ideas. I found the smoke one interesting for sure, but I don't know how visually we'd pull that off with Carol because she doesn't have ears. But I suppose you could almost see the smoke coming from us still. I mean, I don't know. It'd be a challenge to pull that one off visually, but I'm intrigued by it. Sorry for letting spoof had to pick one favourite emotion immediate, probably joy. Yeah, you like to feel the wholesome feels when you look at things and watch things. You gotta have some of that, haven't you? Because you know you need the feel good bits, and I think we gotta have that in Raindrop Chronicles. There'll be those moments for sure. All of the angry faces. Yeah, look at them. Which one's the funniest? Which one do you think is the funniest, everyone? Which one gives the most Carol energy? I think we've got every single angry face in existence now. We're gonna come to the end of the searches soon. She kind of looks a lot like Carol, don't you think? This one here. I don't know if you can see it because she's chopped up. It's the lipstick and the black eyebrows. Seeing new worlds being introduced to wonderful characters and seeing them overcome their challenges. When I look back on my favourite stories, they brought me joy. Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about like character arcs and adventures. Seeing like all the stuff they have to go through. Maybe holes on the sides of the barrel, like in the old cartoon. Use those for ears. Yeah, I mean, I suppose in a way you could imagine it as that, because barrels do. Some barrels have that. Even if we don't visually add them, we can just pretend that they're there, right? It's as subtle, it could be as subtle as it comes from the slats, which she has the little barrel lines. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more real angry Carol type ones anymore, but I think we've got quite a good range there on that mood board. I think that could help a lot. So, cross that off now. And we'll check how our poll is getting on. I think we've got a clear winner, haven't we? It could come from the top, like she's a tea kettle reaching a boiling point. Yeah, that's true as well. I guess it all depends what looks the best. And what, because it could be a challenge with pixel art to pull such small details off. And composition's also an interesting one. Alright, so we'll take a screenshot of this poll, everybody, so we have the results, and then we will delete it. So it's your last chance to vote if you haven't. I'll put that in there in chat in case anyone didn't get a vote in. Just messing about cropping the screenshot so it looks good. Crop. Okay, so that is saved now. Oh my goodness, we have the results in. The voice one won, everybody. So that's it, no more votes. That was a very easy poll. We didn't even need to keep it open for the whole weekend because it was a clear winner at that point in time. In the past, we've had very close polls, so I've kind of kept them open for much longer. But there was really no need with that one. We had a winner. Everybody liked that first voice. Time economy is important to consider, especially since you're doing this solo. If you can get the same emotion across without an animated Steam event, probably a way to go. Yeah, minimal's kind of my new motto. Like, I'm trying to think of ways to really make everything effective and how create impact, but without an immense amount of effort. Like, you know, like, so that I'm not like working like 500 hours a week, even though there's not many hours in a week. 'Cause it's true, as a solo dev, you got to kind of be smart about where you prioritize your time and things like that. So for sure indeed. Okay, so everybody, shall we send the love to somebody? I think we should, shouldn't we? Who wants to do trivia? Is anyone up for doing Raindrop Chronicles trivia? We usually do it at the end of every stream. Some of the questions are impossible. I'm gonna put it up in case anyone wants to do it. Trivia. There we go. Okay, thanks for stream. You're welcome, Looking Glasses. Thanks for hanging out with us. Van got it. It is true. Rose is a vampire, but her name is now Violet. So that will have to get renamed. I completely forgot that I haven't renamed Rose to Violet in the on the trivia, everybody. Streamer LOL Rex. So for those that don't know, Rose is now called Violet. She had a name change recently. Mainly because I didn't want the character to be completely tied to me, because it's rather limiting. Because Violet is not really me, she's her own person. Trick question there is no Rose extra points now. Technically that's very true, Rex. You were very smart about that one. But we gotta be genuine and go for what it actually was. I was gonna raid someone who's online right now, but it looks like they've gone off or they're saying bye. So if they're going, then unfortunately we can't go. It was Timmy that I was gonna raid, who comes into the streams. They are a game dev as well, and their game looks really, really nice. But we'll go to Vagabond Dog instead. Starting class job, or game dev, or everything. I'm multi-talented, aren't I? I have like a big list of things I am, being a solo dev, because I'm every role in the game industry, sort of. Try to be a bit of a jack of all trades in each, at least. Alright, so I think Vagabond has just started, so we'll go over there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, everyone. It was a really fun stream, and I'm really glad to see that there was a clear winner on the poll. Makes me really feel confident about the voice that Carol's got. And I'll be working on. I'm glad to have a 4-day break. It means I'll get to chill out while getting some productivity stuff done. Expect a screenshot Saturday this week, folks. I'm thinking I might do one, and I might start from this week, so keep an eye on the Twitter. I'll see you all on Tuesday next week. And Rose has got that Elder Scrolls class diversity, yeah. And Met said, looking at streams that are on Vagabond Demo, starting Pixie Planes is working on some VTube software stuff, while Media Molecule is showcasing community creation for their game Dreams. Oh wow, Media Molecules on Twitch. I'll have to give them a follow. They made Little Big Planet, if I'm correct. And Pixie Planes, I'll have a look at those, Met, and I'll have a look at their content and give them a follow, and always peeps that we can look around in the future. We'll go for Vagabond Dog for now, because I've already got his stream tabbed open. So let's head off. So I'll see you all on Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for hanging out and for the fun stream in the chat. It was a fun one. So looking forward to Tuesday and getting more stuff done. Working on more scenes. Take care, everybody, and thanks for being awesome.